I think we should transition to good, the bad, and the brainless.
There was an awful lot of good to talk about this week. There were a lot of different directions to go into this week. So, yeah.
I agree. And I think I'm going to give a good and an honorable mention for good just because I feel like it deserves it. So what do you got for your good this week?
Dude, I am just going straight up Montreal. Whether it was SmackDown last week or Elimination Chamber, they were hot the entire time. It was not just Sami Zayn. They were into what was going on. I freaking loved it, and I'm giving the Montreal fans and the Montreal crowd my good for this week.
Okay, very good. For me, I'm going with AEW Dynamite. Hold on. Let me just make sure. Hold on.
Wait.
No. Oh, okay. Yes, I am giving AEW Dynamite my good this week, and I'll explain to you why. There was a lot of good wrestling. And not even just that. MJF and Bryan Danielson's pull apart right after the promo that MJF cut. The only issues I had was Jon Moxley again busted open, surprisingly, and that JARRETT wins the Battle Royal for the tag team titles. I can overlook that. Wheeler Yuta and Orange Cassidy had a fantastic match, and Evil Uno and Jon Moxley had an awesome. They beat the shit out of each other in the main event. That was deserving, very much so, of winning my good for this week. But I have to give an honorable mention to Saraya making more money than Jeff Jarrett this week just by ripping a sign. After ripping a dude's sign, she drew more money in wrestling than Jeff Jarrett just by a matter of $20. Which is still more than Paul London has drawn and the guy who I'm going to mention in Brainless has drawn in their entire careers. Combined.
All right.
So what do you got for your bad this week?
You know, originally I was going to go with Beth's botch during the match with the Spooky Pals. There were a handful of really good bad and brainless candidates this week that eventually I ended up landing on one Tony Khan. Acting just like his EVPs and being just a little bitch. Like, you see a dude who you feel may have slightly slighted you during an interview, or you look bad during an interview. But instead of coming out there and, like, you see him on SmackDown, all you have to do is say nothing. You don't look petty. You don't look like a douche.
I agree.
But then you tweet not once, but multiple times, and you come across like a petty douche who maybe can't manage a Walmart. Tony Khan, you got my bad this week. You would have gotten my brainless, but there was one that just outshined them all.
I will say this. You and I are in agreement for bad. It was bad. That whole thing. I agree. You should have just kept your mouth shut. It's either that or a guy who is a actual writer for Combat Sports is asking you questions about what happened at the All Out Brawl that you guys have just been kind of sweeping under the rug. Sorry. These are what people do. These are what people who ask these questions are. You're not going to get these questions from Ross Sapp. He's too much of a freaking pushover and a baby-ass bitch that he's not going to do stuff to ruffle feathers. He almost had a meltdown because of the fact that he said the thing about Vince being in charge of creative and people called him out and he backtracked like he was a cornerback in the NFL. So honestly, I agree. Tony Khan deserved the bad for this week. What do you got for brainless? Are we putting it on the poll?
It's got to be the Ryback. Like, how old are you, dude? Maurice is a good-looking woman, and you see a former colleague's wife, a picture of her, just like Tony Khan. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. And then, yeah, those could be the tag team champions of the world.
I was thinking about it, but it's funny because we are definitely going to be differentiating for every week since we've started doing this poll. Because for me, my brain list goes to the Disco Inferno. The Disco Inferno came out, I don't know why. Is this on his, does he have his own show, or do people actually invite him onto wrestling shows and podcasts?
Podcast.
So he goes on his podcast, and I'm sure has less people that watch it than the Elite going up against AR Fox and Top Flight in a basketball game last Rampage. And he went on there and said, I don't understand why they put guys with big titties in the main event of shows like they did on Dynamite. Because Evil Uno has, man boobs. What? Riddle me this. Didn't King Kong Bundy main event WrestleMania 2?
Yeah.
Didn't Yokozuna main evented many WrestleManias? I mean, Bam Bam Bigelow. Haystacks Calhoun. Haystacks Calhoun was the ultimate foe to freaking Bruno Sammartino back in the day. So now you have a problem because Evil Uno, a dude who's built kind of like me, I took offense to that. I said, why the fuck is this guy, who is probably the least remembered person from the WCW days of the 90s, who, if you type up his name in the GIFs, the only thing that pops up is when La Parka blasts him with a fucking chair. The Disco Inferno is the least relevant wrestler in the history of professional wrestling. He is a skid mark on the entire period of the Monday Night Wars between Raw and WWE and WCW. He didn't do a fucking thing. He's like the Bella Twins. Tell me what he has done in his career, and go ahead. What has he done? He hasn't done shit. He's just some douchebag who looked like a freaking John Travolta from Saturday Night Fever. Thank you. He was a ripoff.
He was. Honky Tonk Man was a Walmart version of Elvis, and Disco Inferno was a Walmart 70s version of the Honky Tonk Man.
And it's funny, too, because my honorable mention wouldn't even have gone to what you said, because if it wasn't for the fact that the Disco Inferno, as bad as Ryback said what he said, and as stupid as what the Disco Inferno said, the honorable mention for me was the fan who's suing WWE for losing his hearing from being inside a building that was shooting off pyrotechnics.
Mm.
You were right, Jay. There were way too many freaking brainless this week. And we've had plenty of weeks like that. But if you like what you see, whether you are a first-time watcher or a continuous fan, make sure you like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to us on YouTube at the letter T, the letter H, the letter E, the letter F, the letter N, M-A-R-K-S, the FN marks. If you like us, follow and subscribe to us. We will do the same back. That has always been our
mantra.